welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be making cranberry crisp to get ready for Thanksgiving. Cranberry crisp is a recipe that I have made since I was a little girl. I can remember making it with my mom when I was maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old, but it's been a very long time. I have a very large extended family and we would always bring this dish. We do eat this as a side on Thanksgiving. It could be eaten as a dessert as well. You'll see when we actually make it that it is quite sweet. It also makes a great leftover if you want to have extras or if you want to use it as a dessert kind of the weekend after Thanksgiving. So let's get into the video and I'm going to show you how to make this. What we need for this recipe is 1 bag of fresh cranberries. You definitely want to make sure you find fresh. So look, the produce department should have it this time of year. If you're making this off season, it might be a little harder to find, but you should be able to find fresh cranberries. You're also going to need about 5 to 6 Granny Smith green apples. You could use red apples if you're not able to find Granny Smith apples, but Granny Smith is definitely the preferred choice. It gives this dish a nice tartness. And I say 5 to 6 because it sort of depends on the size of the apple. These are pretty standard size, so I would use 6 apples. You're also going to need fresh squeezed lemon juice, which I'm actually out of today. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use lemon juice like this, especially during quarantine. This is a really great thing to have on hand. You're also gonna need granulated sugar, so that's just gonna be regular old white sugar, which I have here. You're going to need all-purpose flour, which I have here. You're also going to need cinnamon and nutmeg. And then the last few things that you'll need for this recipe, you need old-fashioned rolled oats. If you're gluten-free, Trader Joe's is a great choice. Quaker oats, just regular old-fashioned oats would work perfectly. What you don't want to use is like an instant oatmeal or a steel-cut oatmeal. You just want to use an old-fashioned oat for this recipe. You're also going to need 2 sticks of unsalted butter. You want the butter to be cold because we're actually going to go ahead and cube this. And you need a little bit of kosher salt or just, regular salt if that's all you have on hand. So those are all the ingredients, and now we're going to get to chopping our apples. I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees. And the goal here with these apples is to get them to a size of a nice diced size. So you could use an apple corer, but you're going to have to chop them again anyway if you use a corer, but the cores are so big that you're still going to have to chop it. So I actually would say don't use this because you're actually not going to save that much time. And then you're just going to want to go ahead and dice the apple. So you end up with diced size pieces. Now, leaving the skin on is the preferred way in my family, but you could take the skin off if you have an issue with skin or if you don't like skin. This is gonna get baked, so it's not like this is going to really be impacted by the skin. Next, you're gonna go ahead and rinse your cranberries, and you are gonna need a whole bag. If you have someone in your family that really, really loves cranberries, you may wanna even consider using 1.5 to 2 bags. This is a 12-ounce bag. Go ahead and rinse these. Make sure that you pick out any that are like looking a bit questionable, like this guy right here, and pick out any stems. Make sure you get the stems off, okay? So go ahead and rinse these to clean them up. Okay, so now that we have our cranberries in the bowl, the next thing that we're gonna go ahead and start adding is your apples. So go ahead and add your 6 apples.
Come on in, come on up, come on over. We'll be dancing round the tree. So let us have a swinging Christmas, just like 1, 2, 3.
And then you're also going to add 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon and a 1/2 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. So you're just gonna stir those apples with the cranberries, the lemon juice, the sugar, the cinnamon, and the nutmeg, and you're gonna wanna stir it up really well. And basically it's gonna look something like this. Now this is also a really great recipe to use for Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas, because it has that nice green and red color to it. And now that we have this mixed up, we're gonna move on to actually making the topping next. What you're gonna need is 1.5 cups of flour. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with my flour. 3/4 cup of sugar. 3/4 cup of brown sugar. You're gonna need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You're gonna need 1 cup of your oatmeal. And then, like I said, you need 2 sticks of cold unsalted butter. You're gonna want this butter to have either come right out of the fridge, or I have done it before where I've taken it right out of the freezer. Butter freezes really, really well, so definitely it's good to keep butter on hand during the holiday season. Just stash it in your freezer. Then you always have it if you're baking or getting ready for a recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this butter and I'm gonna go ahead and cube it.
So let us have a swinging Christmas, just like 1, 2, 3. Ba 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 da ba 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 da ba da ba ba da. Ba 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 da ba ba.
Okay, so now that we have the topping made, what we're going to do is actually put the base, as I call it, the base mixture into a baking dish. And there's a number of different baking dishes that you could use. You could just put in a regular 9x13 pan. You could break it up into 2 smaller pans. This recipe does make quite a bit. As I said, I have a pretty large family. Today I'm going to show you how to make it in this dish. And this is a 2.5 quart Corelware baking dish. So I'm going to go ahead and grease this pan here, this baking dish, with butter. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pour the mixture in. Then you're gonna take your crumbly topping and you're just gonna go ahead and sprinkle it across the top. So next we're gonna put this into the oven for about 30 minutes or so. Depending on the type of dish that you use, if you use a dish that is super, super thick, you may need to check on it. It may need like 40 minutes, but you'll wanna check on it at least 30. This is gonna be covered with aluminum foil before you put this into the oven. So that's what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna cover this, put it in the oven at 350 degrees, and check on it after 30 minutes. Okay, so this has been baking for 30 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this out, and I'm actually gonna remove the tin foil and bake for an additional 10 minutes. So what you're going to end up with is just a delicious cranberry crisp. Some might call it cranberry apple crisp because it does have apples in it, but here cranberry is the star. It's the perfect way to change up your traditional cranberry sauce. From my kitchen to yours, have a very happy Thanksgiving and a wonderful start to your holiday season. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.